If you love a good road trip, put your hand up in the air and say, oh yeah? Excellent. Years ago, I'm in my car, a beautiful day, just outside of Richmond, Virginia. Road trip ahead of me. I pull up to a toll booth. A woman in her late 70s leans out to collect my $3. As I hand her the money, she asks, how you doing today? I respond by looking her directly in the eyes and saying, I'm excellent. She looks back to me, she points, and she said, no. Freezes. I thought, what'd I just do? Did I offend her somehow? What happened? She goes, you are super fantastic. Threw her hand up in the air and smiled from ear to ear. I went from being totally shocked to smiling and laughing in my car for what was probably the next 10 minutes. As I drove down the road after my encounter with the super fantastic toll booth lady, I thought to myself what you would likely be thinking to yourself in the moment that I experienced, which was, does she do this to every single car? That would be a long day. But I told several of the sales folks on my team about this woman's attitude and about how, for me, there's two different types of people in the world. One type of person's the type of person that, they're a victim of everything. It's wherever they grew up, and it was my parents, and now it's my neighborhood, and now it's this person, and it would be great, but my manager is this, or I would be better if only my situation was different. And in my opinion, that person will never achieve great success or happiness in life. But over here, the other type of person, which is the type of people that we have here in this room, is the type of person that would say, no matter what my situation, no matter what's happening in my life, it's all a reason that I succeed. In fact, every challenge is my platform for growth. It's my launch pad for success. And the toll booth lady, which I thought she could become famous one day, I got my answer when I was in my living room and I was watching TV and a McDonald's commercial came on and the golden arches appeared at the end. And shooting out of the golden arches was the toll booth lady shouting, "It's super fantastic." She became a celebrity, at least locally, for what she had done for the community. We all make that choice in life as, are we going to take our situation and say, I work in a toll booth, what difference can I make? Or are we going to say, I work in a toll booth, what difference can I make? Sometimes it's just in choosing the meaning to every situation. I haven't always been so engaged in my life. In fact, let me fast forward ahead here, or let me, in fact, rewind for a moment and take you back a few years. Now, in this picture, a quiz for the audience. How old do you think I am? Just shout out a few ages. 12, 13. Did somebody say 8? In this photograph, I'm 16 years old. Yeah, I heard that a lot in high school, too. This picture was taken on a day that I drove to school. I was 4'10", and I weighed 85 pounds. I'll never forget my first day of my sophomore year. I did need a booster seat. I was actually like, my mom and I had this discussion about whether I would sit on the yellow pages. So that my biggest fear was whether or not I was going to be able to reach the pedals in the car. And, that, by the way, is not the look of confidence. I mean, I'm terrified that this girl's even touching me. And so, in fact, I've given this speech many times, and 3 times, somebody has shouted out from the audience, which one are you? I'm the one on the right, in case that wasn't clear. So at this stage of my life, I'm disengaged. I'm a victim of my life in many ways. I didn't feel powerful. I wasn't empowering myself to make the most of my life. But then something happened. It was in my 20s, and I was at a Jason Mraz concert, and I was in the very, very back row. I see this group of ladies actually having a blast in the front row. They're throwing their hands up, they're screaming out requests to the musicians, and they are having the time of their life. By the way, if you've ever been front row at a concert, put your hand up in the air. Wow. It's a different experience in the front row. And I was back in the very balcony looking down, and it seemed like it was a mile away. I thought, this is a very different place in the back than the front. And then a light bulb went off. This was simply a metaphor for how my whole life had been until that moment. An observer of life, but not a participant. See, the way I lived life was that I was safely watching it go by. I was safely watching from afar, disengaged from the power. Everybody repeat after me. Say, proximity, is power. I think every successful sales individual, a presenter, every successful leader, every successful person in almost every industry believes in learning in a way that I call 3D learning. And here's what it stands for. The first D stands for discovery. How you like that? Discovery is all about saying, I can learn something from anything. A core belief of mine is that no matter where I am, I can learn from that moment. That's something I own. It's like, have you ever watched a movie, read a book for the second time, and got something totally different out of it? If you have, put your hand up, say, oh yeah? Right, we can always learn something new. Second, the power of distinctions. The second D is for distinctions, and it's this: little hinges swing big doors. I think Oscar Wilde said that first, but little hinges swing big doors. In your life, you have tons of experience, perhaps in certain areas, and you may have heard some of the information that's going to be presented here before. But when we get into that mentality that, yeah, I've heard that before, yep, oh, that, brilliant, oh, sure, like I didn't know that. We stunt our growth when we fail to say that little changes can make a big difference. The difference between somebody that's good and great is oftentimes their ability to say, there's always something that I can see is a tiny shift that will make a big difference. Third, the power of discipline. Listen, you can sit in these meetings and you can say, yep, heard that, yep, I got that idea. But the question is, are you doing it? See, you can come to these meetings and not even walk away with new ideas, but walk away with new inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do the things I know are the right things to do to succeed. 3D learning. And then the icing on the cake, the bonus is we've got to have a good time. If you're ready to have a good time today, say, oh yeah? I want to take you back a few years to a moment where I was invited to see one of my favorite bands perform. Now, if you were to see your favorite band, what would it be? Just shout out, like, what band, what musician, what, who is it? Bon Jovi. Yep, always a crowd favorite. What else? I heard something back here. Alan Jackson, excellent, great performer. How about over here, somebody in this area? Aerosmith, Coldplay, one of my favorites. So years ago, I was invited to see the Dave Matthews Band perform. Anybody a fan, yeah? And Dave Matthews, when he was growing up, was in Virginia. One of my friends happened to go to Sweetbriar College. In fact, her mom was the president of the school. And I got a phone call and said, Dave Matthews, his girlfriend at the time, went to that college, and he's going to perform my private concert on the lawn. He said, you can come. Every girl is allowed to invite one person. So I was in the car and on my way like this. I'm so excited. I'm walking through the dorm room hallway to get to her place, and I see this one man approaching from the other side. As he's walking towards me, he's carrying a guitar. The case had stickers all over it. And here's what I thought to myself as I'm passing him. I think, look at this guy carrying his guitar around campus, hoping to run into Dave Matthews so they can jam together, right? And I walk right by the guy, blow him off, don't even say hello, and then I freeze. I get hit by a lightning bolt. I turn around, and it is who? I just blew off the guy I came to see because I was so busy judging who he was or what he was about. And we do this as presenters. We do this in sales. We do this in leadership at times, and we don't want to, we don't mean to, but we do, and it's not healthy where we judge people. We judge people before they make any purchases as to how much we think they're going to buy. We do this in leadership when we're talking about how well somebody will do if we recruit them into our business. We have to be very careful when we judge people. One thing that I'll challenge everybody here to do today, and one of the ways to live life in the front row, is to be open to connecting. That's the first big idea, the power of connecting. In our world, nothing could influence your success and happiness more than the people that you choose to be around. So peer selection, the company that you choose to work with. You all as a team rise and fall together. You want all of your peers to be wildly successful. And you want that because the more successful everyone here becomes, you undoubtedly will be part of that success. So when you're here, connect with people, meet as many people as you can. Ask questions, get to know them, find out their strengths. And when I meet somebody now, my lesson is treat everybody I meet like a rock star. So when I shake someone's hand, I say, hey, I'm John Vroman.
Kathy Scrimger.
Kathy, everybody, this is Kathy. Say hi, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
When I meet Kathy, I just think to myself, there is something amazing about you, and I can't wait to get to know what it is. You have something to teach me. I know you're better at something, maybe many things in life than I am, and my quest is to find out what that is. My quest is to see the amazing part of you that exists that I have yet to get to know. I would say that we are responsible for creating our own reality. Rather than telling you about it, let me prove it to you. Right now, what I want you to do is everybody just put your pens down, kind of back your chairs away a little bit from the table. And what I want you to do is I want you to take a deep breath in, let it out. Feels good to breathe. Take another deep breath in, let it out, and moan. Even better. Now, take a deep breath in, let it out, and low pitch moan. Very good. Now, take another deep breath in, let it out, high pitch moan. Very good. Now, high five to the person to the left and the right of you and say, nice moaning. These two gentlemen are thinking, that was awkward. John and Roy, what good sports you played along, though. I appreciate that. That was great. All right, here's what comes next. In a moment, I am going to have all of you jump out of your seats with tons of energy. And what you are going to do is you are going to turn to the person to your left, and you are going to give them, or your right, and you are going to give them the biggest hug that they have ever received. Now, let me be clear about something. You do not hug like this, with your butt out, and you're like just tapping them, the pat on the back, like, yeah, that's great. I couldn't be any further away from you and call this a hug. But I'm talking the type of hug where you're like rocking back and forth, like I haven't seen you in 10 years and I just love you more than anyone else on the planet. That type of hug. Now, I do this throughout the US, Canada, into Europe, and I will tell you that every single time I do this, when I present it, I look into the audience and I look for your reactions, and here's what I see. Two different types of people. One type of person, like, what's your name biting your nail right now? Cherry? Cherry. I say, you're gonna jump out of your seats and hug, and Cherry's like, woo! Like pushing her seat back already, going, you just say the word. I am on this. Man, no prep needed. You are on it. And then there's another type of person. I say, you're gonna jump and hug, and somebody goes, no way. I see it in every crowd. I see it. Yeah. And here's my challenge for all of you. If you see somebody whose enthusiasm is waning, I want you to attack them. Now, if for any reason, religious or you can't be touched, you should leave the room now because you are going to be in trouble. Now, I do this all over, and I have presidents of companies, people ranging in age from very young up until their 80s. I've seen every age jump and hug, and nobody is excluded from this activity. So everybody is getting a hug, all right? That's right, somebody's hugging the photographer, by the way. Cameras do not, you're not out of this because you have a camera, all right? You're hugging. Everybody's hugging. Careful with the video camera, though. I will say mic is off limits. The only thing is the $8,500 video camera in the back cannot go over. Are you ready to have a little fun? So in a moment, I'm going to tell you 1, 2, 3. You're going to, hold on in a moment. I'm going to tell you 1, 2, 3. Sherry's like, just do it. Hold on. Wait a minute. Before I go any further, I have to tell you, I did this one time, and there was this gentleman who was sitting near the front. He was 6'5", weighed 300 pounds, looked at me like he was going to kill me the whole time. I thought, I don't even know if he was going to jump and hug. But he jumped up and he hugged people. He was picking them up. He was swinging them around. And then at the end, he walks up to me and goes, "Hey, man, good speech." I was like, thank gosh, that's what he said. And I asked, just out of curiosity, I said, what part did you like about it? And no kidding, what did he say? He goes, the hug. I was like, man, that is the greatest. No, he followed it up with, it really opened me up. And the truth is, I believe that it did. I believe that it did. So on the count of 3, 2 big hugs. 1, 2, 3, go, 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 go. Some of you are like, did he say 2? I heard 20. This just feels so good. I want to do it again. Now, here's a question. If your level of energy went up after doing that exercise, say, oh, yeah? Wow, that sounds so good, doesn't it? And I never even really need to hear the answer to that because I look into the audience and I have a unique perspective. And a moment ago, before the hug, a lot of you were like, after the hug, I look around, you're like, oh, it's amazing. Ah! Your faces tell the tale. You're just full of joy. And here's what I want you to remember. Motion creates emotion. My wife is a nutritional health coach and feeds our son really great food. He was eating plain white yogurt right off the farm, organic, no sugar added. And this is the first time that he's eating it. I just want you to see his reaction, okay? Check this out. I can't take it. It's so funny. Awesome. I'm gonna freeze it right there. Now, everybody, take a good look at this face. And I want that image to be burned into your brains forever. Because this is what being in sales sometimes feels like. It's true. I've been in and around sales for 18 years now. I get it. Like, trust me, I was in it for so long because I love it. I really do. I love meeting people. I love the thrill of the sale. I love giving people a great product. I love how it expands my relationships with all my peers in this business. But sometimes that's what it feels like. It's true. And for those of you that are married, you could easily say sometimes marriage feels like that. You love your kids. You got kids, Sometimes being a parent feels like that. We all know that feeling. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. Because here's the problem with people in their growth in life is they seek comfort. See, they're always seeking comfortable things, comfortable people, they want to eat comfortable foods, they want to travel to comfortable places, they want to learn things that are comfortable because they're good at them. They constantly seek comfort, and the challenge with that is that all of your growth and your biggest dreams in life and your greatest pride comes from when you're uncomfortable. See, confusion, as my mentor Tony says, confusion is a sign that you're about to have a breakthrough. At any point during this meeting, if you feel confused, lost, you're struggling in any way, shape, or form, don't be sad about that. Embrace that. That's exactly what life is supposed to feel like when you're growing. For my son, this was a highly uncomfortable moment, but after a while, he'd just eat yogurt like it was no big deal because he got used to it. It wasn't a big deal then. The plain white yogurt. So in our lives, this is what we need to pursue. Everybody repeat after me. Say, seek. Discomfort. Seek discomfort. It's like I see a group of 10 people, and I'm like, it'd be uncomfortable to just walk up and introduce myself, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's like I walk over and I go, hey, I'm John. Tracy. Everybody, it's Tracy. Say hi, Tracy. So change is hard. That's the third point is change. Change is difficult, but change is where all of our greatest breakthroughs and joy in life will come from, is not changing the core of who you are, not changing the best of what you are. It's just changing to become, as I quoted today at lunch, and my friend Matthew Kelly says, the best version of yourself. We need to be totally committed, and commitment can be tough, but let me challenge you this way. How many of you in this room, raise your hands if you have big dreams or goals. Put your hands up if you have big dreams or goals. Now, keep them up. Keep them up if you'd be willing to share those big dreams or goals right now with the rest of the room. Interesting. Why? Some people are like, they're not that big. They're not that good. Why do hands go down, I wonder, right? But all right, now keep them up. I'm going to come around. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
Amy.
Everybody say, hey, Amy. Amy, what's your big dream or goal?
Quit my day job.
To quit the day job. Oh, I like it. Woo! Awesome. Put your hands up. You have a big dream or goal. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
I'm Kay.
Everybody say, oh, that's right, Kay. We met Kay earlier. Everybody say, hey, Kay.
Hey.
What's your big dream or goal?
My big dream or goal is to become a sales director of DCD so that I can do fundraising for Crisis Pregnancy Center.
Wow, Ace. Yep, exactly. Fantastic. That's awesome. Did everybody hear that? So one more time, if you could stand so that everybody could hear. I'll repeat it. You tell me. A sales director with DCD?
Director of DCD so that I can help fundraise for Crisis Pregnancy Center.
Fundraise for crisis pregnancy centers. That's a mouthful. Right, yes. That's awesome. One, here, ready? A two clap on two. A two clap on two. Ready? 1, 2. Nice, very good. How about one more over here? Big dream or goal. Somebody on this side. Yes, in the red shirt. What's your name? Jen? All right, everybody say, what's up, Jen?
What's up, Jen?
All right, Jen.
What's up?
I love the energy of this room. This is so cool. Jen, can you stand up? What's your big dream or goal?
My big dream is to be able to buy a 7-bedroom home completely on DCD money.
Whoa, fantastic. That's awesome. Now, here's a question for all of you. If I offered you, this is what I call the $1 billion test. If I offered you $1 billion if you hit your big dream or goal, does it change how intensely you pursue your goal starting tomorrow? I see a lot of heads doing this. I see a lot of heads doing this. How many of you say yes? How many of you say no? Where's my never raise your hands people? So, what? Maybe. It might change it. Here's my challenge for you, the $1 billion test. My question is, why would $1 billion change anything? Why would you not be pursuing your big dream or goal with everything you've got already? Listen, if it's money you're after, if that's a motivator, it's no problem with that. But just think, if you pursued your big dream or goal to have more money, like there was a prize of $1 billion at the end, just think about how much money you'd accumulate. You may become a billionaire because of the way that you're living life. And if it's not money that you're after, but let's say it's contribution or good deeds, or money doesn't mean anything to you, but you just want to do for the world something else, think about 1 billion good deeds if that was the bet. I'll save 1 billion lives if you do this. I'll give you 1 billion of whatever you need to make an impact in the world. We're all born, really, to give with our lives. That's why we're here. But as a baby, we actually are a taker, 100%. And we need to be. Feed me, change me, love me. We're born selfish. In that way, we're born selfish that we need people to take care of us. The problem is some people never grow out of that phase. But what they sometimes grow into is they grow into trading. Level 2 type relationships or living in the world is trading. I'll give you something if you give me something. Hey, motivational speaker, if you're good, then I'll be energetic and then I'll bring a good vibe to this meeting. Hey, leadership team of Dove and DCD, if you're good, then I'll listen. But versus, that's a trade. That's like with people where you're keeping score. I bought dinner last time, you buy it this time. You ever get upset with somebody because it feels like it's out of score, your score's not equal. But if you go through life keeping score, you will forever be miserable. The only way to live truly happy is to go through life simply saying, I find joy in giving. And if you're giving too much and to the point of depletion, then that's something you need to address. But the point is, giving can just be the act of saying, the way I live my life is I'm not expecting anything in return. It's not why I'm giving. I'm giving because it's who I was born to be. In your life, what level are you giving to the world, giving to your business, giving to your peers? See, some people show up to this event and say, what can I take away? And a whole other group shows up to say, what can I add? What can I bring? And even if that means listening, it doesn't mean always adding something in a conversation. I mean, sometimes we add the most to a conversation when we simply ask a question and listen with our full heart. That's adding to their life. So think about how you're contributing. A few years ago, as Sarah mentioned, I started the Front Row Foundation, and this next picture, if we can go back to the keynote, this next picture is of a gal named Marissa. Marissa's in her 20s. And Marissa was battling cystic fibrosis when she came to our charity, and her dream was to go see Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett live in the front row. And so I'm a big Jimmy Buffett fan. I was so excited to help make this dream come true for her. That's her family surrounding her. We did the limousine, we did dinner. It was amazing. It was, as her parents would say, and as she said, one of the best days of their lives. They talked about it for months afterwards. The gentleman who created this event, who was there as the host that day, his name's Jeff Bry. He's a board member for our charity. He's also a regional director for a direct sales company. And he took this family on their trip, and he called me about a year later and said, John, I just wanted to let you know that I saw a post on Facebook that Marissa passed away today. But her family referenced the Front Row event in their post to say that Marissa lived life in the front row. She was the type of gal that even with all of her medical challenges, that she'd see the bright side of things. You know, there's an old saying that if everybody were to throw their problems on the table, you'd be really quick to grab yours back. And you know, your worst day is oftentimes somebody else's brightest dream. We just need to catch ourselves complaining. I mean, listen, next time you're whining about something and complaining that, you know, this is too slow, or this person's not returned my phone call in 24 hours, and that's why you're losing your mind. I want you just to think about, is this really going to matter 10 years from now? Is this really worth getting bent out of shape about? I mean, I could tell you stories of a little 5-year-old girl named Sophie that we took to go see Kelly Clarkson that had a brain tumor. and lost her life a month after we took her. You think you've got problems when this is what we're comparing sometimes our pettiness to? My good friend who's a doctor and has a son who battled major health illnesses throughout his life, he said when his son passed away early in his 20s, he came to me and he said, some people say they want to die penniless. He goes, I just want to make sure that when I leave, I die pettyless. It's just people can be so petty about things. They can be so picky about things, and sometimes we just need to embrace. We need to forgive. We need to move on. We need to focus on what's good in life. We need to focus on what's great about you and what's great about this company and what's great about others, and from that place we build contribution. That's the greatest. There's an old saying by Marianne Williamson that says, when you let your own light shine, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. When I was in my car driving down the road one day, I was listening to my favorite music, Viva La Vida by Coldplay. And I was jamming out, fist pumping. I'm from New Jersey. I was fist pumping. And the windows are rolled down. It's a beautiful day, and I pull up to a traffic light. And as I pull up to the traffic light, I stop dancing. I stop singing. And I just turn the music down a little bit. And why did I do that? I don't want to look like a fool in front of whoever's next to me. So I'm just head nodding and just kind of singing under my breath. And then I pull away from the light and I think, wait a minute. I made a commitment to live life in the front row. And I said, that means being fully engaged. That's it. Yeah, thanks, Gary. That's it. And I made a decision to live life in the front row. And so what happens is I say the next traffic light I pull up to, I'm going to sing and dance like nobody's around. And right when I say it and I get serious about it, like the next one I come up to, I'm going to sing and dance, my hands start sweating. I even think they're sweating now just thinking about it. And I'm like, what are you nervous about? Like, you're never going to see that car ever again, most likely. But I say, I can't just talk about it. I got to do it. So I pull up to the traffic light, and I get to the light, and I'm singing, I'm dancing. I mean, like nobody is around, but the car is next to me. And then I can't take it, and after about 30 seconds, I've got to look to my left to see who's there. And when I look over to my left, in the passenger seat, staring at me, is a man who's probably, no kidding, no exaggeration, 93 years old. And he's just staring at me. And so I don't know what else to do, so I just start pointing. And then this man just looks back to the car. There's 4 people and like to say, are you guys getting this? And when he looks back to me, what he does next is priceless. He looks back and he just starts dancing in his car. And then in the back of his car, there's this older woman who must have been his wife who starts going like this. And I'm dancing, and they're dancing, and I'm cracking up. And all I can think about when I drive down the road is that this is what real leadership is about. See, it's more about what we do in our lives that inspires others. Right? It's how you live every day. You think about your legacy and what you're leaving behind. And we all express joy in different ways. You don't have to be the type of person that would dance in your car, but you do need to be the type of person who expresses yourself fully in the way that's right for you. And see, Marianne Williamson said also in that poem that I just took a quote from, she says, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Do you know this? Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Who are we to play small? Your shrinking so that other people won't feel so insecure around you is not the noble way to live. When you let your own light shine, you give other people permission to do the same. That's what we all have the chance to do here today and every day in our lives.